What's up, everyone? Welcome to show number 287 of the Junkies Podcast. Before we get into it, I wanted to give y'all a heads up. This isn't a typical episode. It's not really about welding, but it is about some of the issues we as welders face. I feel that it's a topic that many of us struggle with, and therefore it's a topic I wanted to address on the show because I'm sure that many of y'all out there are going through something. I told y'all a while ago that my mission on this show is to help, educate, and inspire the next generation of welders. That doesn't stop at welding. I've spoken with a lot of people in our community recently, and they're all going through some things. Things like stress, divorce, alcohol and substance abuse, thoughts of suicide, depression. And honestly, I've dealt with some of these issues myself. And I figured it's probably a good idea to have somebody come on the show so that we can talk through some of this stuff and come up with ways to deal with these issues. I'm also putting a bunch of resources for y'all in the show notes of this episode. You'll also be able to find them on the website, arcjunkies.com, under this episode's title. Joining me today is Lisa Parrish. She is a life coach out of Houston, Texas. And later on in the episode, Mike Miller comes back and he's going to join us with some of his thoughts and experiences. We'll get right into it right after a quick word from our supporters. Today's episode of the Junkies Podcast is brought to you by Rockmount Research and Alloys, the brand that believes in strength, reliability, and innovation. Introducing their Neptune aluminum MIG wire with an impressive 40,000 pounds of tensile strength, taking your repairs to the next level. The Neptune MIG wire is specifically designed for welding aluminum sheets, extrusions, pipe, and castings. Perfect for both the amateur hobbyist and the professional maintenance welder. It's engineered to produce superior results with very minimal skill. That's right, minimal skill. It makes perfect welds accessible to everyone, revolutionizing the way we work with aluminum. For those of you that have been involved with the ship construction, truck bodies, or cargo tank creation, Neptune MIG should be your first choice. It brings durability and resilience to your work, ensuring that every project stands the test of time. But Rockmount's Neptune MIG isn't just for big industry. It's also perfect for adding a touch of aluminum magic to your home. Whether it's working on light fixtures, furniture, windows, or door frames, Neptune MIG empowers you to create, repair, and innovate, delivering professional results every time. And here's the kicker. It's particularly recommended in all types of structural aluminum fabrication where post-weld heat treatment isn't feasible. That's the beauty of Neptune MIG. It adapts to your needs, making every project a breeze. Check out Neptune MIG as well as all the other great products at rockmountwelding.com. And as an added bonus for listeners of the Junkies Podcast, you can get a free 1-pound tube of Tartan AAA when you spend $250 or more on Rockmount Products and use code word AJP at checkout. Get the job done right the first time, every time with Rockmount. We're also brought to you by Outlaw Leather, makers of the original custom pipeliner welding hoods. Outlaw makes the coolest custom hoods in the industry. If you can dream it up, Outlaw can put it on a hood for you. Whether it's a personal logo, favorite sports team, military branch of service, or your company's logo. I've been dealing with Outlaw for the past several years and personally own several hoods and other custom pieces from them. If you have a design you want to bring to life, reach out to info@outlawleatherllc.com and they'll make it happen. They even do custom rod pouches and arm pads as well. And if you're a welding school, you can reach out to them and get educational pricing and get your school's logo put on your student's hood. And you can rest assured knowing that each custom hood is handmade right here in the USA in Pasadena, Texas. In addition to their custom leather work, Outlaw carries a full line of awesomely designed hoods and other leather work on their website, outlawleather.com. And as a thank you for being a listener to the Junkies Podcast, you can save 15% on all in-stock handmade leather goods when you use Junkies in the discount box at checkout. Hit them up today and stand out on the job site or in your shop with Outlaw Leather. We're also brought to you by Fronius USA. Fronius is thrilled to announce 2 new welding products to unleash your welding potential. First up is the Fronius Dual Wire Feeder. The new WF25i gives welders the freedom to have 2 torches ready to go, each with different wire types or sizes, different welding parameters, and easily switchable at the touch of a button. No need to change your wire spools or consumables between applications. Get precision wire feeding and save time without adding complexity to your day. Next is the new mobile fume extraction system, Accento. The Accento comes in both high vac and low vac versions to fit your specific welding needs. The low vac system includes a flexible extraction arm with 360-degree rotation and a flow-optimized hood for exceptional fume capture rate. The high vac system combines perfectly with the Accento torch kits to remove more than 99.9% of captured fume particulates at the arc to provide excellent extraction in a compact unit. Come experience both product lines at FabTech this September in Chicago. While at the booth, be sure to stick around for daily machine giveaways, guest appearances, welding presentations, and of course the opportunity to weld on-site with a wide range of Fronius products. Alright, you know what time it is. Fire up your machine, drop your hood, And turn me up 5.
Thank you for downloading show number 287 of the Art Junkies Podcast.
You're listening to the Art Junkies Podcast, helping you make every weld better than your last with each episode. And now your host, Jason Becker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me today is Lisa Parrish, all the way from Houston, Texas. Lisa, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you, Jason. Good to be here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had, so I've done a couple different episodes that aren't necessarily welding. Okay, it's not 100% welding. So I've had a gentleman come on the show. We talked about finances. We talked about wills. There's some other topics that I plan on broaching down the road. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up was welding is a stressful, demanding job. And, so I wanted to reach out to somebody because I've had several folks on Instagram reach out to me. They seem to be going through a bit of a rough patch, some, depression, anxiety, like all these different kind of issues. And I was talking to my buddy Mike Miller, who has been on the show a couple of times, and he mentioned that I reach out to you. And you are a life coach. So, Lisa, tell me a little bit about exactly what you do.
Well, I am a certified life coach. I've been doing this for about 8 years, and basically I talk to people and people who are struggling with various things, and we kind of, I guess the process is to kind of unravel it and figure out why they're having problems, and then we talk about some action steps and the things that they can do.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed because, like I said before, welding can be a stressful job, and welding by nature is I don't want to use the word manly, but it's kind of let's, for lack of a better term, I'll just say like manly, very masculine trade. Even though there's a lot of females getting into welding, there's but
absolutely,
as guys, we're taught to just kind of repress everything. Just bury that, we don't have time for that. Same thing. Like I was in the military, they told us, all the time, you just compartmentalize stuff. So you never really deal with issues. You just let them sit there and build up, and then you drink them away, or you start, you turn to narcotics, or, so I think that's another reason that a lot of welders have drug and alcohol addictions, is because they don't know how to deal with, situations or their emotions, or they don't have anybody to talk to. And I know that there's different resources out there, but a lot of people don't know the signs and symptoms of when do I actually need to ask for help, and how do I ask for help? Like I mentioned, I've had several people reach out to me recently, and they've confided some stuff in me when it comes to like thoughts of suicide, divorce, like all these different issues that we have to deal with outside of the physical labor that we do. But then on top of that, you have the physical labor, that we've got jobs, we've got deadlines to hit, we've got budgets to meet. We can't afford to take a day off, whether you need it, whether you're, you just need a rest day to kind of sit back and reflect or think, or you physically need a day off. A lot of times it's hard to get a day off in the welding industry.
I can imagine. It's not like you can take a mental health day or take an extra day of vacation when you have a job that's got, for instance, I know a lot of deadlines sometimes, right? And things like that. Yeah. And it's hard work, sounds like.
So what are some of the things that we can do? Well, actually, first, what are some of the signs and symptoms that, we should be able to recognize and say, hey, maybe, I should reach out and ask somebody for help, or get some help with some of the stuff that I'm going through?
Sure. Well, some of the more typical things are, if you're having problems sleeping, if you're finding that you have bouts of anger that's normally not, that's just not who you are normally. If you wake up in the morning and you just, I think, well, let me put it this way. I mean, we all have had those days where we wake up in the morning and we just don't want to get up, or we just don't want to start our day because we're not excited. But if you find you're having more days than not where you're just not looking forward to anything in your life, that it just feels like such a struggle just to get motivated, we know there's a problem too, for sure. If you find you're drinking more often than you normally do, that could be a symptom as well. And so it's more of how is the pattern of your life changing, and feeling bad or having a lot of anxiety, and hence, having a few more beers at the end of the day than normal, or just feeling like you can't shake the feeling, whether it's anxiety and racing thoughts, or just can't seem to relax, or if it's depression and you just feel down, and no matter what you do, you just don't feel better. And I would like to say the other thing about either of these, but maybe for right now we'll talk about depression. Sometimes it makes sense if you've had a loss, if there's been a death in the family, if you've moved, if there's been divorce or financial problems. Those are the big stressors. But sometimes too, it's less obvious. People can look around and say, you know what? On paper, my life is great. I've got a great family. I've got friends. I've got a great job. But I just am feeling terrible. I just don't feel good about myself, or I just don't feel good about my life. And then that kind of compounds things, because then people feel guilty for feeling bad. Do you know what I mean? It's worse. And then I have nothing to complain about. I don't have a right to to have anxiety or to be depressed.
Yeah, I know. It was probably back in December. I usually take a month off just because I work for the school system for so long. Usually right around mid-December till mid-January, they shut down for the most part. The campus is closed and everything. So that's my time to relax.
That's right.
And, just do what I want to do. I don't have any responsibilities from my full-time employer. I still have, I always have a lot of irons in the fire. I'm doing a lot of stuff. But I did notice this year that I was battling a bit of depression, and it never really caught me because I never understood what it actually felt like to be depressed. But it's I was staying up super late. I was getting up late. I was probably drinking way more than I should have been drinking. My wife actually pointed it out. She's like, you've been drinking a lot more lately. Are you okay? Is everything? And I was like, am I? Do I like I said, I didn't recognize it. I was like, okay, if it's becoming a problem, then I'll stop. And that kind of turned into a discussion of it's not a problem. And I was like, well, then why are you bringing it up? So there was a little bit of that going back and forth.
But it was a change in a pattern, though, see, and that's important.
Yes, and I think she noticed it, and I didn't notice it. And so I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. But the same thing, I really didn't have the motivation to get up and do anything. It's I had a lot of stuff that I needed to get done, but I'm constantly throughout the rest of the year, it's go, go, go. I've got, all these different events. I've had a full-time job. I was running a side business, plus I was doing the podcast. Same thing. I kind of went through it again here a couple months ago because I had quit my job, and I was like, oh, is that the best course of action? A year ago I quit my job, and I was
right.
maybe I should have kept that security. And, then continuing on with the podcast, then doing all the other stuff for different sponsors, and then doing all the events, the Fab Tech, all these different conferences and seminars, and appearing as a guest judge for these different welding competitions out of state, and, trying to put up a welding school. It's I just keep piling all this stuff on me.
It's
but
a lot.
I do physically like the work, but at the end of the day, I'm not satisfied. I'm not happy sometimes. And it's man, I've got all this, like you said, it looks good on paper. So it's kind of when you're building something, it looks good on paper, but when I actually sit down here and think it through, I mean, I guess, I was battling with some mental health issues, some depression, and it's not a fun place to be. And I reached out to my buddy Dusty. He's one of the people that I can actually confide in. We shoot messages back and forth via WhatsApp all the time. And then all of a sudden everything just started coming together. All the hard work paid off. And I sent him a message, and he's like, dude, you sound completely different. Like, you sound happier. And I was like, yeah, I think I finally realized what was going on. Like, I had too much stress in my life and I had to decompress, so I started going back to the gym. That was one of the things that I've noticed that severely helps with my mental health. If I'm feeling down, out, and depressed, if I can just get my ass to the gym, that's all I got to do. I just got to get there and walk through the door. By the, hour and a half, 2 hours later, when I get back in the car, I'd say to myself, damn, I am so glad that I did that. It sucks walking up to that door. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go beat myself up. But by the time I left.
Yeah, because you got to force yourself and saying, and yes, but physical exercise is super important.
Oh, exactly. I think that's one of the things that helped me out the most. But I know you've got some other different forms of things we can do to kind of like relax or decompress or alleviate some of the stress. So let's talk about some of those.
Sure. I think the first thing you have to remember is that you're human. People expect, just like you're doing like the way you described your schedule, that sounded almost superhuman. We expect a lot out of ourselves. And, a lot of people, I mean, you want to be the best. You want to be the best for your family. You want to be the best for like you did for your podcast listeners and the school and the students and all of these different things. And we feel, I think, especially in this culture, we feel like we should be able to handle all of those things. And so I think the first thing is just to remember that you're human and you can't do it all. And sometimes we do need help. So what else can we do? Absolutely, exercise is extraordinarily helpful. Whether it's at the gym, even if you've got some dumbbells in your house or bands, those are good. Going for a walk, setting a certain time every day to just get out of the house and get some fresh air with your wife, a friend, or, you got a buddy down the street, regularly, that helps too. Doing it with someone, because then somebody's waiting on you. And that'll kind of get you out of that place where you just kind of, I don't want to do it today.
It's probably a good idea to have some like an accountability partner or something like that.
Absolutely.
Somebody you can lean on.
Yep.
No, that's very
helpful too. That's very helpful. Again, just so it makes it easier not to cancel, right? Or not to put it off.
Yeah, you got somebody relying on you, so it's a little bit harder to be like, you know what? I don't want to let them down. So yeah, I guess I'll get my ass up and I'll go to the gym.
Absolutely. There's different kinds of meditation too. Just a way to to relax the mind. And that's the other thing too. We can get so caught up in all the things we need to do, what we didn't do, what we should have done, what we're supposed to do tomorrow, and that all that does is just create more stress, number one. And it can feed into some of those. If somebody's feeling down or depressed, it can feed into that too. I'm just not living up to my expectations or other people's expectations, right? So ways that we can calm the mind. Mindfulness meditation is awesome. And it doesn't have to be, I gave you provided you with some resources that you can put on the show notes. It doesn't have to be sitting on a meditation pillow with a candle and incense and all of that stuff. It's simply just learning how to focus your mind on something and be very, very, it's real concentrated focus in a way that actually relaxes the mind because you're not really thinking. It's more about being present. Going along with that is body relaxation. So let's just say you're sitting, you've gotten home, you're trying to, or even in the morning, you just still feeling stressed out, to start at the top of your head or at your feet and feel your muscles tense up and then relax. And do that. It only takes a couple of minutes just to get into your body, feel where the stress is, and start to relax or stretch a little bit and breathe. That's the other thing we don't do we don't do when we're feeling stressed out or depressed or anxious is we don't breathe. So just breathing a little bit, a couple of deep breaths will help too.
Yeah, that was one of the things, because I've got a hard time shutting my mind off when I try to go to bed at night. So it's like, okay, I need to go to bed at 10 o'clock or 10:30, whatever the time is, based on what the time that I have to wake up the next morning. I'll try to go to bed at a specific time, and I've got all this stuff rolling through my head. And same thing when I was in construction. Like, I'm still building the project while I'm laying in bed. I'm going over the prints and like thinking about, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to go out here to grid line D, and we got to start working on frame line 2 and 3, and like all this stuff in my head. And then it's like, oh, wait, did I pay the mortgage? Okay. The kid's got soccer practice tomorrow. And like just random 10-second thoughts about every single thing. And it's hard to finally go to sleep. I actually looked into, there's a guy by the name of Wim Hof. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Yes. The Wim Hof method.
That dude isn't, so I downloaded his app, and like all bullshitting aside, I started using his breathing routine. And you get like 5 free attempts or whatever. And then you got to pay like a monthly fee or whatever. But once you learn how to do it, and it's also on YouTube, you can play it over and over again for free.
Yeah, you don't need to pay for the app.
But
exactly.
just awesome. Doing the breathing exercises and focusing on the breath, I noticed a sudden improvement to be able to start turning things off. Because as soon as my mind would start to wander, it's like, nope, back to the breathing. And the next thing you know, like I'm waking up, it's, whatever time I was supposed to get out of bed in the morning. So it was actually working to put me to sleep so I could just focus on, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Just something so stupid. Something that we have to do anyway.
And people think it sounds so woo-woo.
Oh, it sounds corny
technique.
And cheesy. And you got to be like a freaking yoga master and all this. And like, no, it is very, very simple. And it actually, I was surprised how well it actually worked.
I mean, there's a couple of other things too. Stop watching the news so much. You would be surprised how, because it's just more input when we're already stressed or we're tired and we've got a lot of things on our mind, and then we're adding news to it. And the news, they love to tell the news because it gets an emotional reaction from people. So the less we can listen to it, especially at times like that, the better for us.
Oh yeah, I try to tune out all that
media
stuff.
And social media too. It's more stimulation. Honestly, and which we've talked about mindfulness and kind of breathing techniques and things, and it's the same thing with external stimulation or too much stimulation with the eye on the retina too. So if you're looking at your phone and looking at social media, you're looking at YouTube videos, you're reading the news, all of those things are more stimulating to the brain, and it makes it harder.
I think, what is it? Blue light is another one that's like not good for you. I've got on my phone, Apple's got a thing. You can actually turn off blue light at a specific time. So like usually right around sunset, I've got it set to where at 8 o'clock right now, it'll automatically pop on. It'll kind of get like a not lower resolution, but it just pulls that blue light completely out.
It looks slightly different color, like warmer or a little bit slightly more yellow tint. It's real subtle, but I have that on my phone too, and I think it helps.
Well, and then I agree with what you said, Lisa, about minimizing your life. You got to, if all you do is sit around and watch the news, they're going to talk a lot about the stuff that brings attention, right? And that's normally negative energy. That gets your mind racing and just pulls you in to capture more of the story. I've in my life, I've tried to minimize as much of that as possible and have positive thoughts. And honestly, when you're talking about laying down, trying to go to sleep, Jason, when I go to bed, I put my phone on do not disturb mode, because what I found was I was waking up, when I was managing the business, waking up at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning to use the restroom, and of course I'm going to look at the emails and see who's contacting me. And then if you read something that don't sit well with you, well, you're up for hours at that point. And I think you have to set yourself up to get the best rest possible so that you can recoup from the day before and everything you've done, and be strong for the next morning, and go around along your day.
I think rest is something that it's kind of underestimated with
Oh,
skilled
it's
tradespeople.
huge.
Because, I mean, think about it. Think about the average consumption. I mean, look at the stereotypical welder. It's all energy drinks, right? That's what energy drinks are a big thing. I mean, people are like, it's kind of a badge of honor to see how many, Monster or Red Bull energies you can kick back before 6 o'clock in the morning. And,
oh yeah,
and then how late can I stay up, tonight and party? Like, that takes a physical toll. It takes a mental toll because your body needs that rest. You're not giving your body that rest.
That's how your body restores itself, including
Exactly.
your mind too. Everything. It affects our physiology big time.
I mean,
Yep.
like the mind is the hub of everything. If your body's not right, your mind's definitely not right.
Mm-hmm.
and you can
Yeah.
tell immediately. I mean, people get used to going through that, and they push their minds and bodies to levels they shouldn't be. But the fact is, you're not the same. And I know in my life, I've had some of the worst days or worst arguments with my spouse when I'm either angry, hungry, or tired. And those are the two things that affect most people the same way. You get hangry, right? And you can't function the right way. You don't respond to things the right way. You're real short, knee jerky. All of those are error or precursors for, a negative day, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And so what we're talking about too, Jason, really is another way to put this is talking about self-care, making sure you get 8 hours of sleep every night, making a really concerted effort. And the thing is, if you don't think it matters, experiment, try it for a week. It is amazing how different you feel when you're getting solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. And the other one's food too. Eat food that's good for you. We need to, just like you put gas in your car, don't put shitty gas in your car. You want to put, same with food, put healthy stuff in there, vegetables and lean meats and protein. And the real thing is to see how you feel, because that will be part of what keeps you going on a more with healthy habits, healthier habits.
Yeah, I noticed that when I started getting a little bit older, like I'm only 40 now, but like as I started this journey into growing up and getting older, I got this thing called a Whoop strap, and it tracks sleep, it tracks strain. Like you can input, what I think you can put in calories. Like I don't do that whole calorie thing because I don't count carbs or calories. You have that ability to do it in the app, but it monitors everything, and they keep making improvements like stress, and it's interesting to see what specific things have the greatest effect on your body. Sleep was like number one. I was getting absolute horrible crappy sleep, and now I can tell you that if I have 2 or 3 drinks tonight, I'm not gonna feel as rested tomorrow morning. I mean, you shouldn't need an app to tell you that, but it literally shows you get a recovery score every morning. So, if I have a couple, 2, 3 drinks, I might wake up in the yellow at like 35, 40% recovery. And it's like, well, damn, I slept 8, 9 hours last night. Why do I feel like shit?
Different quality of sleep. What
sleep.
You've got in your bed, in your body. And the other thing too, I want to talk about nutrition is you don't have to go from one extreme to the other. If you eat if you like junk food and try and cut down a little bit, but more than anything that will help you kind of make a transition, just add more good stuff. So if you have a burger, okay, if that's what you really want, with the next meal or with your burger, have a salad or have an apple, and just those small changes can make a huge difference. And exactly, alcohol, big time. We all like to have a drink, but pick and choose when you drink and how much you drink. You'll notice a difference.
That's right.
Yeah, that's probably played the biggest effect.
And another thing that to tack onto that is gut health. I mean, when your gut's off, your whole body's off.
Microbiomes are huge.
Everything going. I take enzymes every day. And I mean, I feel lighter. I feel more energized. My body's not working as hard to process and get rid of. And, but you're right, Lisa, if you just baby steps, small steps, cut back on sugar, when you get that, you kind of, incorporate it, then, cut back on, simple carbs.
Add a little bit.
Like that. Make small steps and yeah, I mean, a double cheeseburger with bacon is a really good item to have, and you can still do that, but do it, once a week.
But don't do it every day. That's the thing,
Right.
and start to make some changes. The other thing that goes along with what we're talking about is like anxiety and depression. If you're not treating your body very well, also your nutrients and your micronutrients and the balance gets all screwed up. And it's a known fact that if you get too much alcohol will make you low on your B complex vitamins. That in itself can be a contributor to depression.
And then you tack all that onto a 12-hour day in this heat around the country.
Ugh.
And your body is just depleted beyond belief, and you're not resting to bring it up. By Friday, you're a zombie.
Running on fumes, yeah.
And then you still got to work Saturday and Sunday because this job's not going to get itself done.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
I mean, that's part of it too. I mean, you sit back and think about it. I did an episode like early on when I took over the podcast. It was the most important tool you have. And like, I wanted people to think it was like, well, is it a pipe stand? Is it, a welding machine? Like, no, it's your body. It's your driving force. And I lived like this for years. Like, you get up in the morning, you go to the gas station, I get my sodas, my Red Bulls, my roller food and all that stuff. And then I'm off to the job site. And I'm doing this 6-7 days out of the week, working 10, 12, 14 hours a day. And it's just, it takes a hell of a toll on your body because you're putting shit in, literally. You're putting little garbage into your body. And then you're running at 100, 110% all freaking day, to get this stuff done. You're running back and forth to the tool crib. You're slinging stuff. You're out there welding. I mean, you're dehydrated by noon. If you were well hydrated, at the start of your shift. So, I mean, now you're dehydrated. You're hyped up on energy drinks. It's just a recipe for disaster. And like, if your body's not taken care of correctly, your mind is going to suffer. So you add, the fact that you're eating a bunch of garbage. Then you got the stress of work, and then you get home, and let's say you're having family issues. Like I said, a couple people have reached out to me recently, like unbeknownst to me, they're like, "Hey man, I'm in the middle of a divorce, this, that, and everything." It's like, holy shit! Like, luckily, knock on wood, I'm not going through that. I watched my parents go through it, but you add that on top of a 60, 70-hour work week, and you got kids involved, and like all these other issues that are going on. Finances is another one. And you're kind of like, you get to this point where you're grasping at straws. And again, you don't know you have a problem because you've never been taught or told how to deal with this problem or how to identify these problems. You just think to yourself, I feel like shit. Well, we got to figure out a way to get to the root of it. You fix your body, you fix your mind, you start fixing your problems. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Maybe we start off with nutrition. And then Lisa, like you were saying, some mindful meditation. I think the biggest problems that we have as skilled tradespeople, and maybe not just skilled tradespeople, but that's the bulk of my audience, is we don't ask for help. Like if I need something, like if I got to move an I-beam, this, that, and everything or whatever, I'll go over there and manhandle it and get it done myself because, I don't want somebody else to be calling me. Though I'm sure there's a litany of terms I could throw out there, but they're going to give me a bunch of flack for not, for asking for help. So like if I can't ask for help to, for somebody to pick up the other end of a piece of angle iron to get it over the saw, how am I going to go over there and talk to them about the issues that I'm having at home or some of the issues that I'm having at work? Like I'm not. I'm just going to keep that stuff repressed, and I'm just going to, I'll go home and I'll drink it away when I get to the house.
And then it snowballs into all the other stuff that the not getting enough sleep, the not eating right, the drinking too much or other substances. Yeah, it snowballs. And that's the thing about what, it's making gradual changes, but also if there are bigger things going on in your life and it is just, and it's difficult to get out of bed and just kind of keep going, then it's important to find somebody to talk to. Absolutely.
And so, some of that's on the supervisor too. I mean, you're in there with your people all day. You're managing those people. You know what a good day looks like for those folks. And if those folks come in, a little off, real quiet, there's obviously something going on, then make that safe place for them to come and talk to you about stuff. I grew up in a world where, I had to be bigger, faster, better, smarter, and work harder. If you work 12, we had to work 14, or, you're too young to have to even have a back, much less have one that hurts. And
Yeah.
so we've all been in this era of just not saying anything.
That's a
And the
wonderful
fact is-
point, Mike. We all have to take care of each other, and
Yes.
creating, especially people who are more in a supervisory position, to create a space where people can come talk to you, but also all of us can watch out for our fellow coworkers, our fellow neighbors, our friends. When we notice something's not right, please ask. That
Mhm.
is huge. Hey, man, are you okay? You just don't seem like yourself today. Talk, I'm here to talk to. That is, we can't imagine always. We notice things, but we never know how bad it could be for someone and what a difference it could
Well,
make.
and that's right. And, early on in my career, when I became a supervisor, that was one of the most important things I did was I got to know my people, and I was real close with them so that I knew when something was different. And let's face it, sometimes it was just hungover, but there's a lot of times that people, they get quiet. They seem disconnected. They're just going through the motions of life. There's something going on, whether it be at home or maybe there's some bullying going on. Maybe his kid, might be or their kid might be in the hospital. Who knows what's really going on, what's really going on in their life. And I used to be, I used to be bad about road rage, and these people would come around me and cut me off, and I'd get so angry and cuss and raise all kind of cane. And then my buddy that was riding with me one day, he said, "You know what, Mike, you never, what if that person just got a call that their baby is on their way to the hospital and it don't look good for them?"
Yeah.
Wow. When they said that to me, it changed my whole mindset of, you put yourself in that position, and it's like, wow, I look at things a lot differently based on what we've all gone through in life. And that's just one of them. There's a lot of people that, and for me, I'm a natural servant. So it was very natural for me to help other people. But when I needed help, first of all, I was good at covering it up. I stayed in the house a lot. And I was a broken mess on the inside of my house. But out in the real world, I was just a guy, this mover and shaker that had a lot of things going on and dealt with them very well. And that really just wasn't the case.
You get a 2-word self-defense mechanism. I'm fine. So I mean, like somebody's like, "Hey man, you doing all right? You okay?" "I'm fine." Or I'm good. I mean, and that's all the response you get. But you know that they're not good. They know that they're not good, but they're not. Like I said, it's a sign of weakness to say, "Yeah, I've got a problem," or I'm really losing it here, and I don't know how to reach out and ask for help.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it feels like for sure. And it's more of a problem, of course, for men than it is for women, big time. And that's, I think, something that is so important. If we can break down that image that, men can't have problems if they can't talk about them. If they do, they're weak. That's not true. They're just human.
Well, there you go right there. And I think the world needs to, especially testosterone driven males need to just get a lot more humble and just realize that, man, good people go through tough times, and it's not forever. And if you can make, a couple positive steps in the right direction could change the whole.
Well, and the other thing too is asking for help is coming from a place of strength. That more than weakness, it's strength. You having the strength to recognize that, you know what, I'm human. I can't fucking do. Oh, sorry,
No, go ahead.
I can't do this on my own, and I need help. I'm really clear about that, because we all deserve to be happy and be the best. I know this sounds cliche, to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And that is not an easy thing. It takes a lot of effort. And in this life, as many things and challenges as we all have, it's not, we can't expect to always be able to do it by ourselves, nor should we.
Yeah, we live in a world with, more is better. And, we have a lot of moving parts that honestly my dad never dealt with. We where it used to take 30 people 60 days to do a nuclear plant outage, just for giggles. Now you're doing those with 15 people in 20 days. I mean, because the technology, the turnovers all fast tracked, and all these apps we have on our phone, and the turnovers don't have to be as crisp and clean as they used to be, with all the level of detail in there, because it's a quick text or a phone call and you can get the answer that you need. So we're in a different time, and we live a very fast-paced life,
and we're expected to be faster and faster, and that's not actually healthy either.
Yeah, you got to know when to say when, and pull it back, dial it out, get a little bit better balance. I mean, there's times where you're working an outage and you're working 14, 16 hours a day, and that's necessary too. But when you get done with that, rest up, recuperate, recover, spend the time with your family, do the things that really truly make you happy, not what makes everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah. And do it for you too, not just for everybody else. You deserve to be able to take that rest because you need it.
And I think it's, it's from society as well. Society puts that burden on you. I mean, like,
big time.
Look here in the US. I mean, what's the average? If you get vacation time, what's the average? A week. Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody bust their ass. Okay, you can't take a week's vacation till you put in your first year, or you got to get in at least 90 days, or whatever the 6-month probation period, whatever that is. But you look at some of the countries over in Europe, they go on holiday, right? They take a month off. Yeah, 6 weeks. I mean, that's quite a bit, compared to the States. We get that Monday through Friday off, and you get 2 bonus days, but you're not getting paid for that Saturday and Sunday anyway.
It's the American work ethic. It's like work harder, work more, and work yourself to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I've never seen a Brinks truck fall in a hearse.
We need to take this podcast and have a movement.
Yeah, look over in I think it's in France right now. They're actually looking into there's a couple companies participating in it, but they're doing a 32-hour work week. So all the employees are still getting paid for 40, but they're doing a 32-hour work week. Mm-hmm. But then you look at the size of their population compared to what ours is. What's the population of the United Kingdom? Probably about the same as Texas. So you could probably power that entire country on that population. So when you have a bigger population, you've got to get more done to support a greater population of people. Think about your nuclear power plants. If that goes down, how many people go without power? Mm-hmm. So you've got to throw your resources at it, and a lot of times that comes in the form of 7/12s for 30 days, or whatever the case may, 16-hour days for 20 days, whatever the case may be. And we look at that and we're like, oh man, look at all that money. That's a lot of money, especially if you're getting paid double time. You get on some of them jobs where you're getting time and a half, double time, all that good stuff. And then as soon as that job's over, this other one's breaking off. I don't want to take 2 weeks off now, because if I do, I can't land that other gig. So it's on to the next one. And it's a constant battle. You're not getting your rest. You're not getting your recovery. It's constant performance above all else.
Taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, and you can't enjoy that money if you're sick or worse.
Mm-hmm.
A poor person and a rich person look the very same in the dirt.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
And I tell you, once you recognize there's a problem and you seek help and you start really working on yourself on a, bi-weekly basis or bi-monthly basis, or for me, it's a weekly basis. We just spend that little bit of time talking to somebody outside of our world, giving you a 3,000-foot view of what they're hearing. You say you're just blurting out a bunch of stuff and you're talking from the heart. You're trying to be as honest as you can be, but they hear a different version from you. And doing that work, that self-work every day, has really helped me to grow, and not only realize my downfalls, my character defects, or whatever some might call them, but why? Why do I respond to this in this way? Because typically there's a pattern. Or
the why is the big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a childhood issue that you had that's followed you all the way through life. And for me, Jason, I was 40 years old before I realized a lot of the issues that I was dealing with. And of course, I thought I was right the whole time. A lot of the things that I was dealing with and messing up on and, repeating things over and over again stimulated from, my childhood. And I'm not saying it was the worst childhood. It certainly wasn't the best childhood, but it's a childhood. And I don't know that anybody gets through childhood unscathed, and we all have to deal with something, whether it's a bully or abuse or, maybe you just didn't get something. It affects people in different ways, but I can tell you from the heart, when I took the step and started making small changes in my life, I noticed that not only did I change, but my relationships became more fruitful with everybody, my kids,
all of them, everything,
my wife, everything. Across the board, my life is 180 degrees from what it was 4 or 5 years ago. And it's crazy to realize, it took that long. But, and I say all that to say this: small steps in the right direction. Start talking to somebody. And it may not be a counselor. It may not be a life coach. It may not be a therapist. It might be somebody that you just feel comfortable with opening up. And that person just sit there and listen. And every now and again say, well, this is what I heard. Those are small things that can have the biggest impact on your overall life.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. This segment of the Arc Junkies podcast is brought to you by Everlast Welders, my personal choice for at-home and small business welding machines and plasma cutters. If you're just starting out on your journey, don't feel pressured to pay extra just for a paint job. You can get an Everlast machine for a fraction of the price of some of the other major manufacturers out there without sacrificing performance, features, or a warranty. That's right, all Everlast IGBT inverter machines come with a standard 5-year warranty right out of the box. And Everlast customer service is top-notch. And as an added bonus, you can get a free upgraded foot pedal and TIG torch when you buy any machine that comes with a stock foot pedal when you type in ARC Junkies in the comment section at checkout when you shop everlastwelders.com. Everlast Welders. Weld mean, weld green. We're also brought to you by Workbench Pros. We live in an age where precision and efficiency are expected in our industry, and accuracy is non-negotiable. That's why there's workbenchpros.com. Shop their site today and take your fabrication skills to the next level and decrease time on build and increase productivity and accuracy. Workbench Pros carries a full line of fabrication tables, tools, and accessories, and they provide fast, easy shipping right to your door. Workbench Pros carries all the brands you know and love, like Strong Hand Tools, Fireball, Good Hand, Norton, Stabila, and more. Check them out today and see what you've been missing out on at workbenchpros.com. Workbench Pros. It's where the pros go. Now let's get back to the show. So, Mike, what are some of the small steps that you've taken that's helped you out so far?
Well, it's a good thing you brought that up. Honestly, 5 years ago, I was an alcoholic. I mean, I'm considered an alcoholic today, but 5 years ago, I found help. And, and it was one of them things, Jason, to where, I tried to slow down. I tried to control it. And, honestly, with all the things that I've done in my life, I couldn't win at that. And what would happen is I would quit drinking and, slowly but surely, I would become irritable and agitated and discontent, or I couldn't sleep at night. My mind's racing all over. Man, I hit that bottle and man, that thing would calm down briefly. What happens is it takes more and more. And every time I quit, I noticed myself drinking even heavier. When I started back, it was almost like I was trying to catch up for missed time or missed gallons, whatever it was. And so getting sober and going through a program was really strength for me. It helped me disconnect from the real world, and it helped me connect with myself. That's probably the biggest thing that happened in that program. And then I found a group of individuals, and what I realized, there's more people in this world like me. I thought I was nuts, batshit crazy, some might say. And man, I step in that program and I start hearing some of the people tell the same identical stories that was my real life. And so, I made that change, Jason. I stopped chasing the wrong things. I lived my whole life chasing money and winning. I had to win. And I don't chase money no more. I allow opportunities that make sense to come into my life. And if somehow we can work together and there's a fruitful ending, then amen. But if they're not, I'm going to do what I can to take care of my family and provide for them like I should. But I'm not chasing those dollars no more. And not everybody's in that same situation. But once I stopped living for that, business, money, that was my God at the time. And I started changing that, and I started getting counseling. And one of the most important things is, I got close to God, and I had more. At the end of where I'm at now, I have more faith today than I've ever had in my life, because in some sense, this might sound crazy, but I felt that I was the higher power at one point. And it's unbelievable how much you rely on yourself, and every failure is yours and every success. Oh, I did that. Man, it ain't about that. It ain't about that. If you live a good, peaceful life, you might not be as wealthy as some. You might be wealthier than some out there. But the peace and serenity that comes along with living the life you are supposed to and you were chosen to live, that's a big difference. That's a big difference for me. And, today I can say that I'm, 5 years sober, and, I got a great family life and a great wife, and I got a really good support system. I got valuable people in my life that serve and they get served. I got friends in my life that I can go to in a time of need, and they know they can come to me. I eliminated, honestly, a lot of the things that were dragging me down, that were taking me into that negative news space. I started eliminating these things. It's not that I don't love them people, and it's not that I think I'm better than anybody, but Jason, I have to have value in my life, and I have to be surrounded by, equally yoked type individuals that help me and let me help them. And, some people just aren't on that path right now. And I'm going to still love them. I'm going to love them from afar. And there's certain things that I will not tolerate in my life. But, and then once you go through all that, Jason, obviously it's counseling. And, small changes, it needs to become habit. You need to get used to talking to somebody. You need to get used to working through these things. And you need to get used to closing that mouth a little bit and opening up them ears. And I know that's hard to believe when I'm doing all the talking right now, but I mean, that's huge. So, a lot of small steps in the right direction. I think, the ending is valuable.
Yeah, I could see where that'd be very beneficial. Awesome. Like, especially working construction my whole life, being in the military, that was the last thing I wanted to do, was talk to anybody about what's going on inside of me. It was always like, you need to check yourself, move forward. What's it going to take to complete the mission? You can't let, you got family problems. Okay, leave them at the door. Leave your feelings at the house. Like, that's kind of what I was always taught growing up and all that stuff. And you just start to bottle everything up. And then it gets to a point where it's like, oh shit, I can't ignore this anymore. But like, still asking for help is like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm too tough for that.
Yeah. Well, here's one sign for you.
I got it.
If you're waking up every day and you're going to do something to make money and it makes you cringe, you just do not want to be there, and you got every magnetic resistance known to man, just keeping you pulling you away from that, and you don't have a good it's probably a good indication you're really not doing what you should be doing, and what would better suit you and what God made you to do. So
that's a big one, Mike. It's and that's part of that is recognizing who you are. Sometimes we get in positions where we're forcing ourselves to do something that's just against our nature.
It's easy to see, you go through a fast food restaurant and you get to that window, and that person's got that bad attitude, and it's like, why? It's because they're at a job they don't like. And sometimes you have to take, tasks that you don't like to be able to feed and provide for your family. And I get that. But if that's a pattern, you just go in there just to make the money and you're not happy doing that, that's a change. That's something that needs to be changed. Whether you have a bad supervisor at work, you're working for a not so great company, or
we'll get to that.
Yeah, Jason, we were just talking about.
So yeah, Lisa and I were chatting before we jumped on the call, or before we hit the record button, and that's something that I went through like for years. Like when I was teaching welding, when I was in the classroom, or when I was even out on job sites as a supervisor or as a welder, like my feet hit the floor. I'm ready to go because I enjoyed the work. I love the work. Right.
Yes.
And then I got put into a management, position. And that's what I was working towards. I was like, cool, like I'm doing all the stuff to get, take that next step, to get that promotion. Like that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to climb that ladder. You start as an apprentice, you work up as a journeyman, whatever in the education system. I was like, okay, cool. I'm working up towards this program manager thing. And then halfway into it, I get this new director, and my wife even noticed. She's like, why are you having such a hard time getting out of bed in the morning? And I got home one day and I was like, I'm not happy anymore. I just flat out told her, I said, I am not happy. I do not enjoy getting up in the mornings. I don't like going to work. I don't like the tasks that they're wanting me to do. I don't like the direction they're wanting to go. This isn't me. Everything's changed. It's not me. But I'm still a cog in this wheel. I'm expected to show up every day and be there on time and do my job. And I was doing that. I was keeping up my end of the bargain because at one point in time, I sat on the opposite side of the table and I was like, yes, I accept this position for X amount of dollars per year. So I'm fulfilling my end of the bargain, but damn it, I am not happy anymore. And it took a lot of, and I think that was the biggest thing. We talked about finances. It's like, I need to be financially secure because I've got a lot of people relying on me. Like my family, they rely on me to go out and get up every morning, go to work and make money and pay the mortgage and, take them on trips and feed them and clothe them and all that good stuff. And they got sports and all this stuff that they want to do. I'm that provider. I got to be able to do that. So I was keeping up my end of the bargain. But before I could, just say, what, screw it, I'm not happy, I'm walking away, I've got to have a plan B. I've got to have a contingency plan. That's something that's always been beat into my head. You don't leave a job till you got a job. And so that's, Lisa, that's when I went to go work for myself. Now, my new boss is a little bit of an asshole, but we get along pretty good for the most part, right? But it's way better than the position that I was in, So now I can get up in the morning and I was like, okay, let's go do this. But for the longest time, I couldn't get away.
Yeah, and that's a huge point, Jason, because recognize the things you can change and the things you can't. Sometimes we need to recognize what's making us miserable.
That's right. And sometimes, again, that money's not everything. I think back to a story. My wife worked for a big organization and, she just, again, going through the motions, providing for a family. She has a young baby at home. She's a single parent trying to do everything on her own. And she leaves a secure job, making good money with great benefits, traveling all over the world. But she wasn't happy. She wanted to be home. She wanted, to raise that baby. And so on a whim, she just quits her job and starts this little company and she made it. But she would have, if she lived by the standards that she was raised in, she would have never left that job. She would have died at that job, making that money.
Being miserable.
She would have been miserable. And now, what I know is my wife gets up every morning with a purpose and a drive. And no, every day's not perfect. We all have our bad days. But for the most part, when you see her doing what she does, it's smile, smile, smile all the way. She loves to talk to people. She loves to help people and serve people. And she loves to do things that have a great outcome. And, when I think about her story, I think, these people that are scared to leave these jobs all for financial reasons, you can do it, but you just got to put your mind to it. And what she always told me was something I've already mentioned on here. I think last podcast, Jason, is, man, you can bet on yourself. You can bet on yourself. You know what you can do. If you leave that job, you know damn well you're going to go get another job. And it might be rough for 3 months or 6 months down the road. You might not be able to go eat a steak every Thursday and Friday night, but you'll be all right. You won't starve to death. People on Naked and Afraid are out there 21 days and they eat a couple of crickets and make it through. You ain't going to die.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing when I was leaving. Like I was like low key freaking out. Like I was having some anxiety
very courageous.
Issues. And,
it took some courage for sure.
But like, because I was already planning on leaving, and then I gave them like a ridiculous 30-day notice. So I was like, if you want to bring somebody in, I'll help train them because I don't want to leave you guys high and dry. I believe in the program, believe what this place can be, and I don't want to just dip out. So I gave them like a 30-day notice, and the whole time I'm freaking out. I was like, okay, I got 30 days left. Okay, I got 29 days left. And I'm kind of freaking out. because like I'm taking this big step out on my own. And so I look at my wife and I was like, why are you not freaking out? And, like I'm getting ready to leave this secure job. I got good benefits. I got good insurance. I'm making good money. Why are you not freaking out? She goes, you haven't failed at anything you've set your mind to, so you'll figure this out. And I've got 100% faith in you. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. Maybe I got to have a little bit more faith in myself.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's so far it's worked out. I mean, during that process, I not only went full time into the podcast, I started up my own welding school with a business partner of mine. And I mean, hell, I was freaking out about that too. we got through that one. I was having some physical issues doing that. I mean, it was a lot of, 16, 18 hour days, 6-7 days a week, flying all over the place to get things done. But it worked out in the end. Was I taking care of myself the whole time?
Did it?
No. Was I probably drinking a little bit more than I should just so I could get to sleep? Yeah. But
But did you recognize that you had to take when all that was over, you needed to take some time?
Oh, I'm taking it right now. Like, yeah, I mark everything down on my calendar that like requires my time. And I literally put on my calendar for like the next 2 to 3 days, taking a freaking day off for
that's such a good point, because the other thing too is if you can't take a day off or whatever, that's the best. But to put in your calendar, I've told clients this, put it in your calendar, Saturday 2 p.m. I'm taking a nap. Do you know what I mean? Put it in your calendar, and where you get a reminder that says, hey, you need to do this.
Nap time.
Y'all
laugh.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's one of the things that one of the first things that Lisa and I worked on together. And I don't know if the audience knows this, but she mentors me a lot in my life and in different situations, and in mental health and business and relationships and all of it. But that was one of the very first things we worked on was, I felt like if I was resting, I was being lazy.
You're a failure, Mike. Being soft.
I had all this guilt and shame for taking a nap. Daddy can go in there right now and lay on that couch, and there's zero guilt. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm a new, revived person when I get done with that, and I don't have the guilt I had.
Everyone benefits from your nap.
But absolutely, as funny as it sounds, like I was in the same boat. I felt guilty. If I finished up early, and I'm saying early, like if I finished up what I had to do by 6 p.m., I felt early, like walking in, taking a shower, and just sitting down on the couch, relaxing. I was like, no, like there's stuff you should be doing right now. You should be planning out like marketing stuff. You need to be doing this. You need to make sure these orders are complete. Circle back. Oh, check your emails. Oh, your phone just buzzed. What was that? Like going back. And so like I'm slowly getting to the point now where it's like, okay, I'm done for the day. Like you said, Mike, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I put that in my bedroom. I just go ahead and throw it on the charger.
There you go.
And then I'll go hang out in the living room and just like tune all that stuff. I got a hard time separating myself from the work. Like I said, I love the work, or I'm addicted to it. Maybe I need to talk to somebody about that. Probably a little bit of both. But
my name is Jason. I'm a workaholic.
Exactly. So I've slowly like just started putting my phone away. And I think that's helped out quite a bit, or putting it on Do Not Disturb, or, turning notifications off for certain things. Or, I've always had a problem with leaving those little red dots at the top of my apps. I hate having that little red dot. It's like I don't know what it's like a OCD thing. Like I got to clear them all off. But I noticed every time I click on that app to look at them little red dots, it just creates more work. And a lot of it's just bullshit. Like 60-70% of the time it's bullshit. So, and then the other 30% of the time it can wait till tomorrow. So I finally got to a point in my life where I can, okay, that email, that direct message, that's going to be there tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. You think, and again, we worked on this, my 24-hour bubble. Everything's got to be done today. If the sun goes down, I need to be done.
Yep.
And some days my days go till 6 p.m. at night. And some days my work day ends at 2:00 p.m. too. And that's okay, because those emails, and I wake up and sometimes there's 40 or 50 emails. And miraculously, when I respond to them, it's pretty positive feedback. I'm still going to resolve the problem, be involved in the solution, whatever that looks like. There's people, typically they're not going to go away. And if
you don't answer them right away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If it
Yes.
waits till the next morning, it's going to be fine. You can respond to them, especially when you're, better rested, clear minded. You have a few less things on your to-do list, and all of a sudden now you can even give them a better response now that you slept on it. Yeah, there's a lot of small things that make big differences in who we are and how we end up, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked about a bunch of them so far. I mean, so like starting off with change your diet a little bit. It doesn't have to be anything drastic. Just start throwing some good stuff in there every once in a while and just start building that into a routine. I think what's it take? Like somebody like 3 days to get into a routine? I think it's like 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
like 3 days to start
days.
a routine, 21 days to start a habit, and then 3 months to start I can't remember what the last one is, but if you work on it, you just keep going, it'll kick in. But like getting the right nutrition into your body, putting, sleep as a primary, being able to, find somebody to talk to. I think that's the biggest one. Like there's one person I know, my buddy Dusty, I can call him up, talk to him about anything. It's like, Planet Fitness. It's a judgment-free zone, right? I don't even have to pay for him, so which is great. And he'll send stuff out to me. And I told him, because he's working on this massive program. And last Friday we got to chatting, and he was, he's like, I'm debating on whether or not to go out and see this new movie, but I also need to like keep working and getting this program done. And I called him up and I was like, dude, I am finally, it was last Friday. I was on my way to a concert. I was like, dude, I am on my way to a concert right now. I'm going to like let off some steam. I'm going to see, was it Mudvayne, Cold Chamber, and Guar. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take some time off. I was like, dude, go see that freaking movie.
Off steam?
Was that? Oh yeah, that was letting off steam, man. I was screaming and yelling. Oh, that was great. But I told him, I was like, dude, take the night off. The work's gonna be there tomorrow morning.
Yep.
But I mean, he's just as bad as I am. I mean, because we both left industry right around the same time to pursue our own careers, and that's all we've been focused on is making our products, bigger, better, faster, stronger, like all that stuff. And we get so engrossed in the work, everything else just kind of falls to the wayside, And we love the work. So, but I had to like yell at him. Well, not yell at him, but I was like, dude, take a freaking night off. Take your wife. Go to the movies, relax. If you really, that adamant about it, get back to work Saturday morning. Find some balance.
A little balance, yeah.
It's okay to take a day off or a couple hours off.
Big time.
That's exactly right, man. A lot of good discussion in this call. Oh,
yeah, it's been great. This is fun.
You always got to, play an active.
Well, these are important things too. We're talking about really important. We're talking about people's quality of life.
Well, and a lot of this stuff, typical man's not going to talk about, and we're not going to face the fact that, that this is the world we live in. This is where we are. And this is truly how you get better. And it's not about, a lot of times it's not about pumping cocktails of pills in you that just numb your whole mind and body. It's about making a couple small changes, start walking and make it a small goal.
Understanding yourself a little better.
Yeah.
I think people also need to understand that they're not the only ones facing difficult times. They're not the only ones with struggles and issues and problems. And if you opened up and talked to somebody, you'd find out, they're having issues as well. Like I was telling y'all, I've had several people reach out to me within the past couple of months that have told me, hey, I've had the barrel of a gun in my mouth within the past year. And it's like, holy shit, people that you would never think of. I was like, dude, I thought you had it all together. No, I'm on the verge of giving up everything. Or people that have developed drug and alcohol addictions, people going through a divorce, all these different life changes. And it's like, well, maybe me over here starting my own business, maybe that's nothing to worry about. They're obviously dealing with something bigger, but I think everybody deals with their own issue, and you can't prioritize. It's not a measuring contest. I can't say my struggle's worse than yours. Everybody's got struggles. Everybody deals with it in their own way. And a lot of times those ways that we deal with it, they're not healthy, mentally or physically healthy. So by actually opening up and talking about it, hopefully more people will go out and start making small changes, whether it's, going to seek a, professional help, or whether it's, just start off going to the, get in an exercise, go to the gym, go for a walk,
more sleep.
Yeah. Get some vitamins in your body. That's one of the things I noticed a significant difference is I started doing the IV drips with the infused vitamins. So they put in like vitamin C and zinc, and there's glutathione. Like I'll go rip one of those on a Saturday, and within 45 minutes, it's like, oh man, that feels so refreshing because you're pounding water all the time, but you just don't have the electrolytes and the vitamins and stuff that you should be getting in that water. It's all filtered and purified. They take out all the good stuff, and you're just left with like straight water. So getting those vitamins, minerals, nutrients, your brain feeds on a lot of that stuff. Same thing. Absolutely. Like I live in the bright, sunny state of Florida. So vitamin D is like, I can just walk outside and get as much as I want, but I also get skin cancer when I do that. So I do like a vitamin D supplement, and that completely changes your brain feeds off that stuff.
Everybody should be taking vitamin D at the very minimum. Yeah.
And I think COVID was like one of the worst things that happened because everybody fell in a state of depression. I was doing that 75 hard challenge during COVID. And I think that's probably the only thing that kept me sane. I mean, I was working out twice a day, drinking water, reading books, but I mean, it just kind of worked out that way as a coincidence. Meanwhile, I noticed like all my neighbors, their recycling bins are just full of beer bottles and, rum bottles. And like everybody was at home drinking. And like, I'd be out on my bicycle, hitting the bike trail, putting a 45-minute workout in. And it's like, damn, like these recycling bins are just overfilled with alcohol. Because nobody could go to the work. So
yeah,
and the thing is,
and people are still recovering from that. I think
I truly don't believe that we were ever designed to be alone.
No,
and I think that's what COVID did for us. Is it kept us in the house and kept us away from people and out of the community. And man,
we need connection, and I think that made it really obvious. Yeah,
I think that if I sit in my home office now a complete day without going outside, the relief of walking out of that door and letting that sunshine hit you for just a minute means so much. And the majority of the people around here, even if you go to an office that, maybe your productivity wasn't nothing today, but all those conversations, all those small conversations that now you don't have, that dialect and that connection meant so much. And, I tell you, for a lot of people, going back to work is the best mental move they can make.
Yeah, people are meant to be like working. I mean, like maybe not physical work, but I mean, like people, there's reward in work. Like when you complete a task. Useful. I mean, it's mentally rewarding. And like you said, we're not meant to be alone. Like humans, since the beginning of time, like we've always been in a tribe, even nomads, that went place to place. It was a tribe of people.
Exactly.
And so isolating yourself, secluding yourself, being a recluse, that's not good. I mean, like you need to go out and find your people. But Mike, like you were saying, you've got to find the right people, and you have to know when in your journey that there's certain people that
who's healthy for you.
You need to find this person. Probably, I love them to death, but they're not good for me as a person. And I had to do that. Like I've had to get rid of a lot of what I thought at the time were great friendships. But looking back, it's like, I'm kind of glad that, I cut that person out of my life. Like you said, Mike, I still love them as a person. They're, great people. They're just, you sent me a video the other day. They're not going where I'm going. So they were an integral part of my journey, but where I'm going right now, it's going to hold me back. So you have to know who to cut out and who to keep in your life. Because if you keep around the people that all they want to do is party all the time and, stay up late and just fall into bad habits and all this stuff, those are the type of people you got to be able to recognize and say, you know what, it's probably a good idea for me not to be hanging out with this person or this group because they're not going where I'm going. I want something different out of life. And if I want to achieve that, these are some of the people that I got to cut out of my life.
Exactly.
Well, that's not saying they're not great people.
It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I oftentimes it sounds like, myself, I'm being judgmental, but I'm really not. I have to have, quality people in my life these days. And man, I tell you, when I started eliminating those people, and some of them are my own family, but once I started eliminating, it's almost like I took a 10-pound barbell off of each shoulder every time I drop somebody that was really weighing it down and bringing negativity and always causing drama, every time I let one go or put them in the back a little bit, man, these weights came off me. And at the end, when I finally had a good circle with all quality people, man, that added value to me and I added value to them, I felt so light and so free. And I think that's a big part of it. Man, you need people in your life. You need community. You need to serve and you need to be served. You need to be a part of something bigger than yourself. But you also have to make sure that it's with the right people. You got to have the right people.
They told us all the time in the Marines. Like it's hard to soar with the eagles when you're surrounded by shitbirds. So you got to be very selective with the people that you're hanging out. Like I noticed then when I started changing the folks that I was hanging around with or running with, my life started changing for the better. Because I was like, oh, you have what I want in life. Let me come over here and talk to you a little bit more, and let me not go out drinking this Friday. Number one, I'm not going to wake up with such a hangover on Saturday, but I can actually go out here and get value from somebody, and they can mentor me and help me out, achieving the goals that I want to achieve.
Right. It's you want to hang out with people who reflect something that's in you already or something that you want to be. Absolutely. And everybody just feeds its positive momentum, right? Just kind of bounce off of each other.
Yeah, and I never left anybody on bad terms. I wasn't like, hey, you're a piece of shit. I'm not hanging out with you anymore. It was just, I literally got too busy to hang out with certain people.
You start to distance, right?
And it kind of happened naturally. It's like, here's what I'm into now. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that anymore. So, if you want to come over here and join me, like instead of going to the bar on Friday, I'm gonna go to the gym after work. Oh well, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Okay, cool. Like, no problem. I mean, it's self-sorting laundry right there.
It's evolving as a person. That's what it is. And then you can't be 20 forever. I mean, I could never live through what I did in my 20s today. There's just no way. You evolve and you grow and you mature and you look at life a little bit different and your priorities change. What used to be important to me, it was money and fame. Now ain't so important no more. I might not be able to eat steaks and I might have 2 damn days where I go, ramen noodle city. But man, my peace is there and the serenity's there and I have value in my life. And I'm going to touch on something else real quick. I know it's getting close to the end of this thing. I can't, I just want to keep going, but be nice to yourself. Mm-hmm. So many people get a hold of themselves and they just constantly just beating themselves down. I think for me, a lot of that came from comparing myself to other people that I wanted to be like. And the mistake I made is they didn't have my start and I certainly didn't have theirs. They may have started at a level that was unknown to me at the time. We all have our start and we all get to where we're going. We don't always have to be the same. But throughout that process and whatever you become, be kind to yourself. A little bit of gym, a little bit of diet, a little bit of therapy, a little bit of self-talk, a little bit of meditation, the small things, man. Be kind to yourself.
Amen. That is huge. And that's all part of that being human, right, Mike? I mean, because that's it. Recognize rather than get down on yourself that I'm not doing what I should be doing, or I'm not the person I want to be, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not this or that. Rather than focus on that, just recognize that you're human, that yes, say a kind word to yourself of encouragement. We all respond to encouragement more than we do criticism.
That's right.
And that happens inside as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lemonade. I mean, there you go. You can have a bad day, but you can learn from that experience and have a precious life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mike, I like what you said. You can't compare yourself to somebody else. One of the things I learned probably within the past 2 years is I can't compare myself to somebody to somebody else. I can't. But what I can do is I can compare myself to me yesterday. And so if I compare myself to me yesterday and I say, okay, you slipped or you screwed up. Okay, I need to rectify that. Or, hey, yesterday was a great day. You learned this. You move the needle a little bit more forward this way. Okay, what can we get done today? And you just constantly compare yourself to you yesterday. And as long as you're making steps in the right direction, you're going to meet up with everybody else. You're going to meet up with the person that you want to be 5-10 years from now. It's small steps make big changes.
That's right.
Many times you're looking at other people thinking, man, how does he or she do all that? How have they achieved all that? A lot of people are looking at you the same way, Jason. They're looking at you the same way. Like, how cool is this? This guy gets it. How did he do? How did he become this? They're looking at you the same way.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
It's
That's right. No, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a constant, that's kind of what I like. It's a challenge. It's a constant challenge. Just be.
Well, it's a good.
Oh, no,
sorry.
just be better than you were yesterday. Keep taking steps in the
That's
right direction.
But it's work.
It is.
It's
and
work.
Hold yourself
And
accountable.
It's like a marriage. It's like a job. You know, it's a different commitment. When you commit to something greater, it's a different commitment. And you know, we live in a world where at the first sign of failure or the first red flag that comes up, you know, we get out, we divorce, we back out, we quit, we drag up. Man, just commit to yourself that you're going to make a few changes, you know, toward the right direction. And that's the start, man. And just commit to it and do a little bit each day. Don't go crazy in a day or over a 30-day period, because chances are you're going to get burnt out. And just like all them people to start the gym
In January.
You know, I can see them come in. I'm not trying to talk bad about people, but the gym is full packed January 1st through about February 30th. And that's over. And then we got the whole gym, you know, again. And the reason why is because there's a different level of commitment. People will commit until it gets rough, or until it's hard to get up in the morning, or until you're too burnt out from, you know, rattling bolts in the rack all day. I can't get to the gym, or I'd rather go drinking instead of, or whatever it is. You know, the commitment level's not there. And that's the big difference now. But you know, once you get healthier in your mind, stronger in your faith, it's not so hard to stay committed, focused, and driven towards the right things.
Yeah. Again, it's the small steps. You can't make a whole bunch of changes overnight. It's not going to happen. You know,
no, and you shouldn't.
Leopards don't change their spots.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, start off like we were talking about earlier, start off with a few simple diet changes, maybe go to the gym a couple times. Just start building that habit, and then that'll convert into a routine. And then that just converts into a new lifestyle. But it's you've got to take that first step. I think I was watching a video the other day with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. 1 day or 2 day. So it's like, I'm going to do that 1 day. Well, why not just 2 day? Why not make that 2 day? Start today.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait till 1 day. Start today. Whatever it is, start today. But don't start everything all at once. Baby steps. You gotta walk,
Absolutely.
or you gotta crawl before you walk. You gotta walk before you can run.
Pick one. Yeah.
Pick one and focus on that.
Thing.
And then once you've got that into a routine, get into another one.
Yeah, flex that muscle, man. You know, people want to grow bigger biceps. What do? Your body, your muscles, your mind is designed to sustain you through whatever you're doing. And if you increase your workload, you increase the things that you lift up, or the pressure that you're putting on that particular body part, even your brain, it's going to grow. It's going to adapt. Eventually, the muscle or your brain is going to say, okay, this crazy fool ain't going to stop. And so now I've got to grow and adapt to what he or she's putting on me right now. The brain's the same way to me. When you get out of, you know, mental hell, and I think we've all kind of, you know, been there a little bit, on the backside of that, you're mentally a much stronger person, because you flex that muscle over that period of time, whether it be a divorce, you know, financial, you know, difficulties, somebody dying in your family. You're a much stronger person after all that. Once you finally get traction again, and you stand back up and dust your feet off or dust your jeans off, you're a much more mentally strong person. It's just like working out in the gym to me. I mean, I look at it the same way. If I want my brain to be stronger, well, then I've got to flex that muscle. I've got to read the book. I've got to build my faith in God by reading the Bible. You know, it's not one of them things you just talk about. You got to apply yourself in baby steps.
Yeah.
And people are more resilient. We are, as human beings, more resilient than we think we are, especially at our weakest moments.
Yeah, 100%.
Agreed.
You can
We
put up a
are,
lot more
for sure.
physically, and it's back to the mind. That's your only limitations. Your mind will give out long before your body does. You're capable of so much more than you actually realize. You've got a lot more in you. You just don't think you've got it. It comes down to
Exactly.
it comes down to a mentality.
That's a big statement. Absolutely.
Belief. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what you believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just got to sharpen your mind.
Good stuff. Absolutely.
Well, Lisa and Mike, it's been a pleasure having you all on the podcast. I really appreciate you coming out here, sharing your experience, sharing some of the things that the listeners can start practicing, maybe some of the areas of their life that they can identify that they need to start shoring up or working on, or, like we said, asking for help. Just go out there and look for it. And Lisa, you sent some links and stuff. I really appreciate that. I'll put that down in the show notes. So everybody that's listening, I'll put those down there in the show notes. You'll be able to click on those. And there's a bunch of different resources in there, pretty much anything we talked about on the podcast.
Thank you, Jason. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Real honor to be
Thanks
here.
for the invite. I really enjoyed, listening and learning and chatting and being a part of something that, hopefully resonates with somebody and possibly helps somebody. So thanks a lot for the opportunity.
For sure, man. Thanks for introducing me to Lisa there. It was an awesome chat with y'all.